I'm small. What's up, people? Look at this website. I cover up Patrick there. Anyway, this is random ass creepypastas that I just find. I don't know. I'm gonna read them. So this is the first one I got. Is the one I started the video with. I just kind of clicked the random button and it just happened. I read Super Mario Bros. 3 Transfer next. I don't know. This is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Mac gets advantage. I don't know what the fuck that means, but probably something about D&D advantage. I was looking for stuff to watch on YouTube until... Oh, wait, I gotta get into the mood. Ooh. I was looking for stuff to watch on YouTube until I found an unlisted video. You can't find unlisted videos, by the way. You can't find those unless you specifically put the URL link into the fucking thing, into the search bar. Turn off TV. There we go. Alright. The video's thumbnail showed Mac in a very angry expression. The title of the video was called Mac Gets Advantage, so I decided to watch it. The video started off with the normal intro, but Mac, instead of being very happy and running, was walking angrily, with everyone having frown expressions. Then the intro started to turn black and red with some static. Then, when the intro ended, it had Mac screaming very loudly, as if he had a heart attack. Then the title card came up, and it was the same title as the title of the video. The picture frame was dark blue, while the background was bloodshot red. The video started with Blue smiling evilly at Mac, while Mac was dressed up as Mako the Clown, covered in pink slime, while Eduardo, Frankie, Coco, Goo, Wilt, and all of the Foster's residents were laughing at him. Now I can tell that this was going to be a sequel episode to the infamous one, I only have surprise for you. Anyways, as they were laughing, Mac turned angry and screamed, "What the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking pussy-ass bitchy whores?" He screamed very loudly. As he was saying the cuss words, an extremely loud bleep sound was heard, and it was so loud, it went through my ears when I covered them. This made all of Mac's friends and everyone in the Foster's house gasp due to how Mac was cussing. Mac then screamed again, saying, after all the motherfucking kind of things I did to all y'all, no periods or exclamation points, y'all still want to reward me like this fucking shitty ass torture porn I got? What? He shouldn't know what that is. Mac's eyes started to turn bloodshot. He once again screamed, "As a matter of fact, you fucking bitches are going to fucking pay 700 exclamation points." He then started grabbing some weapons. Blue said, "Everyone run." Then everyone in the Foster's house started running and screaming. Mac said, "You bitches can't run from me." Mac grabbed Blue by the neck, choked him to death, and hung him on a noose. You don't need to do that if he's already choked to death. He shot Madam Foster, set Frankie on fire with a flamethrower, and put a bomb on Coco's shoe, exploding her. She did have a shoe. Wilt said, "Mac, why are you doing this? We only wanted to have fun." Mac ignored him and scratched him. Then he stabbed him with a knife. Then he sawed Eduardo with a chainsaw, and he poisoned Goo. Okay. The last thing he did was put a nuke inside the middle of the entrance and ran away from the house very fast like Sonic. This caused the whole Foster's home to explode, killing all the residents in the house. Then Max shot himself with a gun, and the episode ends. If you see this episode, don't watch it for your own good. Ian ruins Angry Birds fans. Okay. Yeah, seems about right. Okay, I'm gonna go look at Mario. Welcome to Super Mario Bros. 3 Transfer. Back in the day, I was a fan of the old school Nintendo games such as Contra, Super Mario Bros., and Life Force. I played the games constantly, but as we all do, I grew up to do better things other than play video games. One spring morning in 2011, I decided that I wanted to relive my childhood by bringing up my old Nintendo from my basement. This turned out to be a bad idea. It was too dark down there, and I was tired, so I just went to bed, deciding that I would play it tomorrow. I woke up the next morning and want to find nearly a f- and want I think they meant went to find a nearly to find nearly a foot of water in the basement. I looked outside and there was dirt everywhere, as there tends to be dirt. I turned the TV on and the newscasters were saying that this was the storm of the century. Rain had poured down all night. I went to drain my basement of all the water. After that annoyance was over, I searched for my Nintendo. I eventually found it, and it was fine, just above the water, just above where the water was. But the games weren't. They were soaked. I dried the games off and went upstairs. I tried the games in my Nintendo. Obviously, they didn't work. I didn't have much time to play around with them since I had a full time job. So I called my friend Ted. Ted was my old college buddy who didn't currently have a job because he was only interested in computer hacking slash modding and was currently laid off. Just recently laid off, sorry. I asked him if he could fix my Nintendo games for me. Uh, I would have just bought new ones, but I was saving up to buy a wedding ring to propose to my girlfriend, who was currently out of town, so I can't really propose to her. He owed me a favor anyway. He said sure, but he didn't say it normally. It was kind of dark and mumbled. I hung up the phone. On the way to work, I dropped by Ted's. He opened the door with colorless eyes and a flushed face. I asked him if he was okay, and he answered with the explanation that he was working on some big project all night to get this high paying job that he recently showed me. Gave him a box of games that included Super Mario Bros. 1 and 3, Contra, Life Force, Jaws, and a few others. He said he'd have them done by tomorrow, and he started to turn around and close the door. Before the door was closed all the way, I could have sworn I saw him smirk on the right side of his face. I ignored it and went to work. I picked him up the next day. As he gave the box to me, I said thanks for the work. He replied with, "You're welcome," in a melodic and dark voice with a small smile. Again, I ignored it, and I drove home to play my functional Nintendo games. It was 7, and the sun was going down as I plugged in my system. I, I played most of my I played most of my games the next few hours, rolling into my childhood nostalgia. They played perfectly, except for the occasional blue screen coming from the bad pin connection in my non-top loader Nintendo. They were as fun as they were back then. It was around midnight when I started to get tired and checked the rest of the games to see if I had missed any. Idiot! How could I have missed Super Mario Bros. 3? Okay. I pushed the game into the Nintendo. The game started up. The curtains revealed the logo opened, and instead of a happy yellowish background, it was all black. They were there were there were blunt sound effects for each time you pushed a button instead of a bling, all of which without background music. The Koopas on the ground were red-skinned and black-shelled. Mario and Luigi were the same colors. As I pushed and I pushed start and one player mode, and I could have sworn that right before the screen revealing the first world appeared, Bowser's face appeared. On World 1, it wasn't the same. It actually looked like World 8. The first level was named You. As I started the level, eerie music that sounded similar to the original music if it were edited, only to be slow and depressing. The level itself was a swarm of tanks like in the original World 8 from the normal game. but it wasn't possible to beat. There was no end. I just played until I died. I was then forced onto the next level titled R. As soon as the level opened, you fell into a pit, hearing a faint scream, 8-bit and all crackly. I then spawned on the world map and realized the 6 remaining levels and my 6 remaining lives. There was one of the hand there was one of the hands from the original game at the end of the 8 levels, instead of the 5 at the middle of the world. As I played my remaining non-winnable levels, I got to the last level with 1 life left. It was called Infected. Wait, the levels had chronological names. It spelled out you are cursed, now prepare to be infected. Cool. God. Then I entered the final level. I died at the last level and had 0 lives. I was expecting a game over screen as usual, but instead I went to the world screen. I went over to the hand and the hand dragged my down. The game suddenly crashed and the screen was black. Then a loud glass crackling sound came to my right. It was my actual window. It wasn't broken, it was just cracked. My heart was pounding. I raced for the door, it slammed shut, and I wasn't able to get it open. The lights suddenly went out. Only the cracked moon from my window shone in on the room. The door rattled. My head was shaking. I couldn't take it. I collapsed unconscious. I woke up on the floor the next morning. Well, there's a reading right there. The door was on the floor as well. The hinges were bent. My girlfriend rushed into the room and asked what happened and if I was all right. I, I said later and immediately rushed off to see Ted. What the hell was his problem? That game! Why? Why would he do this? I reached his house and noticed that it was surrounded with police. I got there just in time to see the paramedics bring a stretcher out of his house. I went up to see the stretcher to see a cut, broken, abused version of Ted. There was a wicked, messed up burn mark on his right hand. He said one thing. He said it was transferred successfully and died right there. I was so confused. As I started to walk off, I felt a painful jolt. I looked at my right hand. There was the pentagram, the mark of the devil. I looked up slowly and smiled. I then started for home. I'm shitting myself right now. This is the spookiest thing. Alright, I gotta go read something else, man. Okay, I don't know what this is, but the title got my attention. Garfield is a lie. This is extremely stupid story. It was originally uploaded to the Creepypasta wiki on December 10th, 2011. It's so painfully obviously fake and way too over the top that it's it's only appropriate it be uploaded to the Trollpasta wiki for us to mock and laugh at. It's also pretty gross how it attempts to portray Jim Davis. Uh-oh. That guy's dead. Don't disrespect the dead. So I'm probably not going to laugh as much now. Okay. Garfield is delusional from the murder of his friend. Alright. The entire strip is a lie, created by Jim Davis to mask the guilt of the friend he murdered in cold blood. For years, Davis has been slowly losing his grip on reality, putting his existential crisis into the daily funnies. And people buy into this lie day after day after day. Let me explain. Ever since the 90s, Garfield has been a living lie. It all began when Lyman, a character who was in the strip since launch, mysteriously disappeared from the series. Following his disappearance, the strip began to devolve more and more into unrealism. A titular cat began walk on 2 legs, act more human-like, and interact with John in a more casual fashion. This was a large departure from the cliche, harmless cat humor seen in earlier strips. This all culminated in a strip in the late 80s, in which Garfield wakes up to an alternate reality. John is gone. Odie's probably dead, and the house he lives in is abandoned. He slowly begins to starve, lost in a time that he no longer knows. In order to escape, Garfield uses the power of denial to summon back his old pals. He creates a comforting illusion where he continues to dwell to this day. Jim Davis is Garfield. And in the early 80s, a friend whom he lost contact with for a few years decided to visit one night back in town from a trip. But what was supposed to be a few beers with a buddy turned into cold-blooded murder. Jim became downright murderous when his friend reminded him of childhood memories that were best left forgotten. Memories of abuse, memories of violence. It was too much for Davis. He broke down, fueled by alcohol, and began to repeatedly bash in the skull of his friend with a beer bottle. Jesus Christ, okay. They didn't have to do Jim like this, man. Rest in peace, though. He did so until it was nothing but a bloody pulp, a mush of brains and pus. His friend's dog began to bark and yelp at Jim, and so he silenced him by throwing the dog against the wall and kicking it into submission. The dog lived, but was traumatized and happily stupid after the accident. I don't know what that means. All the while, Davis's cat watched in apathy, staring at the whole incident unaffected. Because he was the only one Davis cared about in his life, he began to treat his cat as a person. Talking to him, letting him eat at the table, he became insane. Oh, there's another reading. Okay. In 1989, a breaking point was reached. His cat died and Davis was all alone. His dead friend's dog had run off and since found a loving home with a 3-person family a few counties down, where he lived out the rest of his days. Being alone, Davis crafted the demented Alone Garfield strips. He demonstrated his ability to conjure an illusion, a lie to live, because the truth was too ugly. To this day, Davis lives this lie in his own head. In truth, these were the last strips Davis created as a free man, because he was soon found out for murder. From an institution, he writes the strips, giving out the occasional interview, and is uncharacteristically happy. To him, his friend simply left. His cat is alive, and the dog is playfully causing mischief. Jim Davis is lost in his own head, living a lie till the die he draws his last breath. Spread the story. The people must know. Yeah, that about sums it up. But why though? Oh, I live there. Anyway, this was more sad than anything. Just one more story, and I'll wrap this up. Madagascar, the ending. On March 5th, 2025, maintenance. Okay. It's March 6th right now, so. Does anybody remember the movie Madagascar? You know, it's a movie that is based around the quartet of animals ending up stranded on an island after a tragic accident. I watched a lot of DreamWorks movies when I was a kid. They were phenomenal and still are. Plus, there's a lot more DreamWorks movies I like. Also, my favorite is the Shrek franchise. But there's one memory that still haunts me in my head for days. It always will. It was a warm day in my area, not too hot nor too cold. I was browsing on my laptop looking for the classic DreamWorks animated films. At that moment, I got a notification on Google Mail. Gmail. Just say Gmail. The message was from no other than DreamWorks. Yeah, I'm sure they would do that. Just go out of the way to random guy. The email read this. Hello, DreamWorks fan from Australia. We'd like to privately share an alternate ending from one of our old films, Madagascar, made by a sacked animator named James Winterstone. After you watch this, please do not screen this anywhere. Kind regards, the DreamWorks team. I was surprised I just got an email from DreamWorks. I received many emails from Pixar before. What? But there was a link to the file, so I downloaded it straight to my laptop. I saw this file, and this file's name was Madagascar Alternate Ending.mov. I had a bad feeling about this. However, I had the courage to watch it. I clicked on the file, but before the video played, there was this warning. This is the alternate This alternate ending of Madagascar was changed to match its demographic and has unsettling themes that are not suitable for children or people with sensory issues. If either you are a child or someone with sensory issues, please do not watch this. Viewer discretion is advised. I had a blank expression on my face. I hope it's just a parody ending, I spoke, trying to reassure myself, but I don't want to waste time, so I'll cut right to the point. The video started. The video started. It started with the best scene, where Marty, Melman, Gloria were trying to escape from the Fosses. "What's the plan?" Marty asked Gloria. "This is the plan," Gloria answered. "The gang's still running from the Fosses." And one of them said, "Fosses, hungry. Fosses, eat." Another Foss replied, "This is the plan?" Marty asked in shock. The penguins then came to the rescue, and Skipper blocked the Fosses holding a command pistol. What? Foss, halt! Skipper said bravely to the Fosses. The Fosses stopped and gasped shockily. The trio then stopped running and noticed the penguins had come to the rescue from the Fosses. Just then, Skipper pointed his pistol at the sky, shooting it. Then the Fosses got distracted by the red fire after the bullet exploded into the gray, cloudy sky. "Fossa, ooh," said the Fosses. "Fossa, ah." Skipper crawled into the distracted Fosses, and one of them said, "Fossa, oh." The penguins then built a trap for the Fosses. After that, Private then jumped into the plate with whipped cream on top of his head, and Rico put the cherry on top, and then he whistled, "Come and get it," Private said, getting the Fosses' attention before they eat Private whole. They're bamboozled by the penguins. In that moment, the animals and the penguins of Madagascar fight the Fosses. Before they snicker, the gang, "Take that," Melbourne said, while he whack a Fossa on the head like a whack-a-mole. "Fossa, ow," a Fossa said, grunted in pain. However, there were too many Fosses for the animals and penguins to fight. "There's too many of them, Skipper," Private said, noticing too many Fosses. "It's been a real pleasure serving with you boys," Skipper remarked. Just then the gang heard a ferocious roar. It was coming from no other than Alex. "Alex?" Marty asked, before punching a Fossa in the face with his hoof. "That's my kill. Mine," Alex said before dropping down to the ground. He proceeded to walk towards Marty, growling, looking deranged. "Alex hungry. Alex eat," he spoke, still walking towards his best friend. Alex then bared his claws as the ominous music kept playing. A couple of Fosses, I'm saying it fossils like that all the time, sprinkled salt over Marty as the lion was still walking up to him. Alex's eyes began to form into a shade of dark red. I'm scared. Oh, give me a second. Sorry. I got scared. Uh, and when he moved his teeth towards Marty, instead of whispering, "It's showtime," as in the final film, he bit Marty on the neck. Marty screamed in a blood-curdling and agonizing way, as if the actor, Chris Rock, was getting tortured. Melman and Gloria stared in shock at what was happening before exchanging glances. It showed the shot of the penguins staring in shock as well, but without exchanging glances. Okay. I even got a few glimpses of the Fosses as well, with wide smiles and their tongues sticking out as they enjoyed watching the lion, who was now turned predator like them, mauling his best friend to death. Alex continued gnawing his teeth in Marty's neck until small drops of blood could be seen dripping from his neck. His pupils began to dilate. Alex pried his teeth away from Marty, and the latter collapsed with no pulse. Marty was now dead. "Holy crap!" I said in horror. "Holy crap!" Alex then sucked the blood off his fingers and sighed in relief. "That was a good, tasty zebra," said Alex before looking directly at Gloria and Melvin. The blood on Marty was minor. but it was still shocking to see his corpse. His eyes were blank, his mouth was agape, and he was crying blood. It cut to a shot of Alex staring at the two animals. However, Melman and Gloria were suddenly off screen, as if Alex was actually staring at me. I felt extremely uncomfortable watching this. I closed my eyes until the staring was over. Melman broke the silence by shouting, "Run, Gloria, run!" The giraffe and hippo then made a run for it before Alex chased them on all fours. He lunged onto Melman and started biting him. Melman began screaming, but it wasn't comical, it was curdling, and agonizing as well, as if the actor, David Schwimmer, was being eaten alive. Gloria screamed realistically, watching her boyfriend being mauled by her friend turned predator. The blood on the giraffe was also minor, but it was still shocking to see Melman's corpse. His corpse was even similar to Marty's. His eyes were blank, his mouth was agape, and he was crying blood. Alex then slowly turned to Gloria, grinning sinisterly before saying, "I'm hungry for some hippo." Gloria ran away, screaming, so she could find a place to hide as Alex chased after her. Gloria hid in a bush, and she began her breath. She looked through the bushes to catch a sight of Alex, but he was nowhere to be seen. Gloria sighed in relief. However, she heard a voice saying, "Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos." Gloria turned around and it was Alex, his eyes now fully dilated. "Alex, please, we're your friends, not food. Don't do this," Gloria pleaded. "Spare me your lies, Gloria. Your friend is gone. I am involved to my hunger for food," said Alex as he stared right at Gloria before the latter lunged onto her. Then cut to a shot of the bush rustling as we could hear Alex roaring and Gloria letting out a realistic blood-curdling scream as the actress Jada Pinkett Smith was being eaten alive. The screaming stopped as soon as the bush stopped rustling. It then cut to the shot of the two lemurs, King Julian and assistant Maurice, on top of a tree as they saw Alex devouring his own friends. "Oh my gosh, Maurice, this is terrible," King Julian said in horror. "It certainly is, Julian. Now that Alex is a true predator, sooner or later, he and the rest of the Fosses will gobble us up in their mouths," Maurice remarked worriedly. "Worry not, Maurice. While I am still king, I shall find a safe place for all my lemurs, especially you," King Julian said in bravery, with a quote mark there. "Actually, Julian, that's a bad idea. Of course there's another safe place for everyone to hide. Let's hurry while we still can," Maurice said in agreement. "That's not a bad idea." Affirmative. That's a big word for King Julian. The two lemurs got off the tree to make it back to the rest of the lemurs. Just then, Alex jumped out of the bush after devouring Gloria and found the two lemurs. "Good evening, lemurs. You're just in time for dinner," Alex said. "Mr. Alex, please, you must stop this nonsense. This isn't you," King Julian pleaded. "Say all you want, Say all you want, King. This is who I've always been, and will have you and all lemurs in my teeth," Alex said as he stared at them right at them. The camera focused on Alex's face again, as it looked like he was staring at me instead of the lemurs. The camera then turned to the lemurs staring at shock at me instead of Alex, until Maurice came up with an idea to distract Alex. Look over there, Alex. Steak," Maurice shouted, pointing his finger to the right. Alex looked to his right with excitement on his face, but there was nothing there. He looked back at the lemurs in confusion and noticed they made a run for it. Alex then growled in anger and roared as he began to chase the lemurs on all fours. "Good thinking, Maurice," King Julian said to Maurice in amazement. "Thank you," Maurice replied. The lemurs hid uh, behind a tree by one of the bushes to catch breath and hide from Alex. They looked behind the tree to catch sight of Alex, but he was nowhere to be found once again. The lemurs sighed in relief. Just then, one of Alex's paws with his sharp claws came out of the bush and grabbed Julian and pulled him into the bush as his crown fell off, devouring him off screen. "No, Julian!" Maurice yelled, as we can hear Julian screaming in a realistic blood-curdling scream, as if he was beaten alive by Alex. After Julian stopped screaming, Maurice then immediately started running again before Alex could devour him next. Alex then quickly pounced on Maurice and began to eat him alive while screaming in terror. It then cut to the rest of the lemurs and more looking for King Julian and Maurice calling out for their names. The lemurs heard a noise from a bush as they began to feel scared. King Julian, Maurice, Mort said, still feeling scared, thinking it was them. However, Alex jumped out from the bush like a jump scare and attacked Mort as the latter screamed in pain before the lion could swallow him whole. The lemur screamed, "Watch!" Mort being swallowed whole by the lion, and they all began running to find a place to hide. Alex managed to slice some of the lemurs with his sharp claws while the others escaped. "You can run, lemurs, but you can't hide," Alex yelled. What the hell am I watching? And why does this alternate ending even exist? I asked myself in horror. It then cut to the penguins alone in the rocky setting. Well, boys, this is it. The lion has come down a dark path. Skipper said. Private began to sob in pain, but his sobbing was rather realistic. I don't want to be poultry. I'm just a cute little penguin. Kowalski heard Alex's roars. Looks like we're done for. The oversized feline has found us, he remarked. Alex emerged from the bushes and walked up to the four penguins. It was nice knowing you, boys. It was nice knowing you, Skipper said sadly. Alex began to pick Private up with his jaw while the latter screamed before swallowing him whole. Rico was shocked before he started to run. Skipper and Kowalski ran too. Alex pounced on Rico and ate him whole too. Kowalski, what do we do now? Skipper asked in concern. Kowalski thought for a second before saying, We have to get back to the cruise ship before any predators try to consume us. Affirmative, Skipper said. The two remaining penguins ran through the forest, catching sight of the cruise ship as earlier seen in the film. Water. Alex, maybe we should. Two uppercase. Not right. Capitalized. Maybe we should talk this over and think about being friends, right? Skipper said. Not a chance, Penguin. I'm already hungry at the tip of my claws, Alex yelled. It showed a shot of Skipper's point of view of Alex's face until he threw his face forward with a slack jaw, and it cut to black with Skipper screaming in pain as Alex mauled him to death. I could even hear his blood splattering everywhere while he was screaming. It then faded to a scene where the Fosses were chatting, and just then Alex approached the hideout. My Fosses, I'm your new king. We pray, we hunt, we eat, and we roam. Together we rule Madagascar. Bow down to me. Alex monologued. The Fosses bowed to Alex, accepting him as their king, and he lifted his head up and roared to the sky. The Fosses then roared with him alongside as dramatic music played while the camera panned into the gray, cloudy sky. It then faded to black. The video ended. I was shocked. I've never seen a horror version of Madagascar before. I grasped my hands over my face if I was crying. I never knew people could add creepy escapades in animated DreamWorks films like what they do with Pixar. What? I then went to delete the file, but I thought it would be a good idea if people would believe me. I posted the video to Google Drive and sent my friends a link via email. They were appalled too. Madagascar was a good movie from my childhood, but what I saw will always be in my nightmares forever. James Winterstone is technically the DreamWorks counterpart of Adam Kennington. Be careful what you click on. This is peak, alright? This is peak. Fire, even. Anyway, gosh, if you want to go check this wiki out, the link to it will be linked in the description. Thank you all so much for listening to me talk about this random bullshit. It's so fun. I love these stories. If you have any stories you want me to read, go ahead and let me know, and I'll look them up and I'll read them. Because I love this. Alright? See ya. Bye bye.